I'm now traumatised. I'm officially traumatised. I'm hugging onto this like it just belongs. So, why am I traumatised? I'll tell you why I'm traumatised. Because for years, I have been terrified they're going to remake this. This is The Lost Boys. This is the greatest vampire film of all time. I'll die on a hill for this. That is the greatest vampire film of all time. It's in my top 10 movies of all time. I've watched this so many times. I adore this movie. I love this movie. I love this movie with a passion. And I've been terrified of a remake. I've always been terrified someone's going to remake it. It's probably going to be awful. I'm not looking forward to it. They did a couple of weird little sequels, but were nowhere near this at all. And I was generally I've always been terrified that the sequel, that a remake is going to come. Worse has happened. Worse has happened. They've turned it into a musical. There is a trend of this. There's a trend of like taking a movie, usually an 80s movie, and then turning it into a musical. This has happened a lot. It happened with like Pretty Woman. They did it with. They've done it with Dirty Dancing. They've done it with all of the classic movies. They're doing it with this now. And I thought, you know, I'm a positive person. I like to give things the benefit of the doubt. I thought to myself, well, I do like some like musicals. I love musicals. In fact, I love like Grease. I love all the classic musicals. Hairspray. I'm trying to think of some Rocky Horror, Rock of Ages. I love Rock of Ages. And I thought in my head, if they make it kind of Rock of Ages-y, it might work. Get a lot of guitars in there. Get a lot of very 80s soundtrack rock, real sort of rock heavy. It might work. Get some gritty looking kids, sort of acting kids that can do the stuff. It could work really well. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a little look. I'm going to have a little Google. Shouldn't have Googled. Should not have Googled. So I went and had a little Google, went on a bit of YouTube. And the first thing I saw was a couple of shots of some of the cast. And the guy played Michael, like the family, like Michael, his mum and And I was like, do you know what? That looks all right. I mean, they're good looking. You can see they're stage kids. There's a look that stage kids have. You can see they were stage kids. And I was like, do you know what? It might be. And then I scrolled on again. I saw the people playing the gang, the vampire gang. And I was like, looks a bit stagey. It's a stage show. It's going to have stage kids, right? But I was like, it looks very stagey. And it looks like the gang themselves, in the Lost Boys, the gang, yes, they're all fancy clothes. They're quite good looking lads, but they still look quite masculine and quite hard and tough. These ones did not look very masculine and hard and tough at all. It was just like, oh God. Oh God. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I was like, oh, they've race swapped Star. Not a problem. Because the character of Star is just a girl who's caught up with these vampires, kind of wants to break out. It could be anyone could play. The girl that played her in the movie, whose name I can't remember, this girl, great actress, did loads of things, in Twister and stuff like that. She did a phenomenal job, and I thought this girl, yeah, they've race swapped a bit. It could probably still work because, like, a lot of times they sort of race swap. It's to do the voice. It sounds good. It's amazing. It's great. I'm happy with race swapping. Doesn't bother me. Then the biggest faux pas I could ever have imagined I saw in the casting, and I was like, excuse me. I literally was like, I was on my phone. I was tasting my phone. I was Googling. And I was like, that's a woman. The Frog Brothers, who are two of the best characters in the movie. There's these ideas like vampire hunting brothers that work in a comic book shop, and they sort of take it so seriously that they're vampire hunters. And he's like Corey Feldman and I can't remember the other guy's name, but Edgar and Allan Frog, and they are the funniest characters in the movie because they're so like, we're gonna go get the vampires, we're gonna stake them through the heart. They're very much like that. They've gender swapped one of them. One of them's now a girl. It's now the Frog brother and sister. I was like, no, I don't push towards the anti-woke thing. I don't push against progression that much. I am an old man, so I have my old man theories and the old man opinions. I'm 45. I was raised by my grandparents. That probably gives me a more Gen X approach to these things. So I'm a bit more, less the millennial. They call it Zennial in the middle now, don't they? But I'm definitely more on the Gen X side of it. So I was like, why? They were two badass boys that probably grew up reading far too many comics and just got massively into the whole vampire thing, and their theory that there's vampires in Santa Car. They saw evidence of it, and they just formed these little vampire hunters. I doubt a girl would do that. Boys hang around together. That's just what we do. I remember as a kid, me and my friends all getting together, and we were pretending we were Ghostbusters. We had this theory that there was a house on a field across the road from the school, and the light reflected in the window like a white light, and we said that was a ghost, but it was actually just light reflection. We were like, no, that's a ghost. We should ghost hunt that, and we formed a little gang that we were Ghostbusters. We were going to get this ghost, and the person that lived in that house must have been terrified to see these like 8 and 9 year olds like walking up and down the house staring at their window, because we were, you know what I mean? But that's what boys do. You form little gangs and you go off and you used to pretend you were like superheroes or demon hunters or whatever it was that you were into at the time. You'd pretend you were that. Girls didn't really do that. They might do it now, I don't know, but like back when I was young, girls didn't do it. Back when this come out, girls didn't do that. They were more into sort of like girly stuff, because when I was young there was very much a difference. Now it's kind of blended and it's all weird. But I was just like, why would they swap the gender of the Frog Brothers? They're the Frog Brothers. This is annoying. It's like, I don't want to get too much on a high horse now, but like when they did Snow White and they got the girl that played her, while she has a fantastic voice, I could not diss her for that. She got a fantastic voice, but she wasn't white. And I know that sounds horrible to say, but like, the character's called Snow White because they said in the book, it's clearly describing all the stories that her skin is white as winter snow. That's why they nicknamed her Snow White. So they gave the name Snow White. So then when they changed it, I was like, it doesn't make real sense. Little Mermaid, you could argue she's a mermaid, lives underwater. You don't know what colour she's going to be. You don't know what she's going to look like. She could have had a big fish head for all we knew. So it didn't matter what they kind of did with that. But when they got a character and it's like specifically that, you should stick with it. So if you've got the Frog Brothers, make them brothers. 2 boys, brothers, you know, it's so, oh. But not only that, as I said, when I was watching the music for this, I started to watch the music and I thought, it's going to be gritty 80s guitar sort of stuff. It's going to be really, whoa. And the songs that I saw, there was one about Michael being lonely, and I was like, oh God. And then there was like, it sounded like Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, that Andrew Lloyd Webber thing about Joseph from the biblical stories of Joseph getting the coat and bring me my coloured coat. Jason Donovan played him when I was younger in the West End musical. It was like massive, and I think Philip Schofield took over. Not so massive, but when Jason Donovan did it, it was like he had like #1 songs in the charts from that musical. It was massive. What was the song? It was like, bring me my coloured coat, my amazing coat. That's how relevant that was back then. But this Lost Boys, the thing that, a film that I have loved since the moment I saw it. I remember, I'll never forget the first time I saw it. I was in my bedroom flicking through the channels, and it was this thing called Doc Terror's Vault of Doom, where he kind of introduced horror movies. And he started talking about this film called The Lost Boys, and it come on. The moment it started, I was like, this film looks good. Continued to watch it, and I remember my nan was in her bedroom watching the same film I was on her TV, and I kept running in and out going, oh my God, did you see that? That was amazing. I've been such a hyped up kid after seeing this amazing movie. And then remember, about 2 days later, we went out to this it's like an indoor market thing. It was in Bexley Heath. It's not there anymore, it's now Sainsbury's car park or something, but it was indoor market thing. Went in there and there was a copy of The Lost Boys on VHS there, and I remember just being like, please let me get a film, because I love that film, please. And she like bought the film for me. I think it was like $4.99. It's like a pre-owned one on this like cheap video store, and it was literally it wasn't this cover, it was just like David's face in vampire form, and a moon behind him. But that was basically the cover, but you know, a drawn version of it, and I wish that they'd put that cover on here really. But yes, oh my God, and I adored that movie. Everything about that movie screams out to someone who was my age at the time, like, oh my God, imagine if you did get into like an adventure. It's very Goonies-esque, you know. I love the Goonies. It's that type of film where you get like kids that come together and do an adventure, like almost like an adult adventure, but kids are doing it. So you feel like you can do that yourself, you know, it could be your thing. I loved it. I loved the vampires fighting. I loved the face makeup. I loved the violence of it. I loved the music. I've got the soundtrack on CD. I loved it. And when I was believe it or not, looking at me, I trained to be a professional wrestler, and I had this idea of this character that sort of like walked down to the ring with like a doll, and he's all creepy, like all in dark stuff, like rocking back, a bit like Mankind meets The Undertaker meets, I don't know, some crazy person. But it was very much like that. I rock back and forward holding this doll, and I was going to have Cry Little Sister as my theme music as I came out, and I never got round to fully developing the character before I stopped wrestling. It was kind of this idea that I had. I was like, I think this could work, and I was getting through it in my head. And I remember it, but the pivotal point was having "Cry Little Sister" as my walk down music. So I just imagined like walking down with the doll just like that, like walking like that, and just like as that doom doom is going on, as that's the sort of motion I was going to walk to the ring. And I just every so often I'd just get the doll and go like, it was like a girl's doll. It would be all tatty and bashed up, and like one of the eyes would be missing. It'd be all scratched up. Some of the hair would have been ripped out. The dress would have been dirty, but like rubbed across like the dirt and stuff like that. And I was gonna like carry it like this, like in my hand by the hair, almost like Bray Wyatt does with the lantern. And I'll go like every so often, like, and aim it at a kid's face, like not obviously hit them with it, but like put it in their face. And, go, ah! And they sort of like, that was my theory of what I wanted to do, and I wanted to talk to this doll in the ring. But it all stemmed from listening to that song. And somehow this all came together, like, you know. But I loved The Lost Boys, the movie. I think I still to this day say I'll stand. It was a film that if it's ever on telly, I'll stop and watch it. If it's like when I get bored, especially in the summer, I just want to watch that movie in the summer. Whenever I go to a fairground and it's night, that movie gets in my head. The songs like "People Are Strange" will get in my head, you know, like that from Echo and the Bunnymen. Just the sound and that American fairgroundy sort of music that plays in this as well. It's all in the It films as well. So that gets into me, deeply into me, and I love it. So the fact they've made this musical and it looks bad, to me bad, you know, it looks very unmasculine, very campy, very... It is, I mean, it's musical theatre. It's got to be musical theatre, but they could have given it a bit of a dirtier vibe because it's very cleany looking, and they all look very good looking and slim and small and slender and dancers, and it's just like, oh, I would have done something different. If it had to be a musical, I would have made it a very rocky, dirty looking musical. It wouldn't be very clean looking at all. The people that were in it, I'd have not gone to stagey sort of school. I'd have gone probably to schools and looked at the art department kids there that aren't as stagey, maybe looked a bit dirtier, rocky looking types, you know. I don't know why they did. I just feel, I feel violated. Now, I know you're probably thinking the same thing. Like I've said it before myself. If you don't like it, don't go and watch it. And you know what? I'm not going to go watch it. I refuse to go and watch this bloody musical. If people start coming to me going, it's the greatest musical I've ever seen, it's the best thing in the world, I'll still be like, no, I'm not going to watch it. I might even protest. I might go stand outside the theatre at the West End with a sign that just says, not my Lost Boys, not my Lost Boys. On the sign, picture of David, real David, Kiefer Sutherland David, vamping out. Maybe a picture on the other side of Michael, two vampires vamping out this way, like facing each other, evil looking. Not my Lost Boys. And a picture of the Frog Brothers at the bottom, standing tall. I might even find Corey Feldman. I might go find him. He does his little singing stuff now, and he's great. He's fun as hell to watch. I'm going to go find him. I'm going to get him to come with me, and we're going to both stand outside the theatre with our signs, not my Lost Boys. Arrow pointing to him, the real Frog Brother. Boom, there. Oh my God. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try. If anyone knows Corey Feldman, get him to contact me, please. Please get him to contact me, because we need to end this. We need to stop. We need to stake this. First come, first staked. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of this Lost Boys musical. Or have you had this before? Have you had a film that you loved and adored, and then they turned into a musical, and you were like, oh no? Maybe you've been pleasantly surprised by this. Please, in the comments, put down your thoughts and feelings. And if you've had experience with this before, and you're kind of like, I know how you feel, or you're a mental person, stop rambling about this. Let me know, because it's very fascinating to me, and I am going to try and avoid more stuff about the Lost Boys musical, because it will probably send me into some sort of breakdown. You might see me in a video soon, just rocking in a corner, going like, just rocking like back and forward, begging for Jason Patrick to turn up and save me. I don't know. But okay, please, 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 as I said, comments and stuff. Like this video if you liked it. Do you know what's going to happen now, though? Because I've been Googling the Lost Boys musical, the bloody algorithm's going to kick in, and all I'm going to get is just like, Lost Boys musical, smack him in the face. All right, it'll be like, hi, I'm Michael, and I'm lonely, and I'm... It would be like that every day. It's the world we live in. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.